Hello everybody, it is John. I'm having another look at some of the miniatures that are sitting in my collection. So you've got some slightly unusual lower backdrop there. But look, I'm talking about today Wargods of Aegyptus. Now, I initially loved the figures that they produce, these anthropomorphic, yeah, all right. I think you know what I'm talking about. But what I liked about this rule set was that you had unit activation tokens that you would stick down for every unit, and then you'd activate them one at a time, you and your opponent, and you would flip them, and they were orders. Essentially, you were giving your units orders as to what they could do, like wheel to the left, wheel to the right, advance, shoot, and things like that from memory, because it has been a very, very long time since I've played this game. And it was really good if you could move a unit and force an opponent to activate their unit and see that your cunning plan goes out the window as you reveal your token to find out that you decided to wheel in the other direction and move away from them. So, look, it is really, I like it. It is it's essentially a hero or a superhero or an upcoming god, shall we call them, a harbinger. Sorry, I'm always going harbinger. It's a harbinger. Is the focus of the game, and when they, at the end of each game, you find out how successful your harbinger was, and they'd earn points, and as they slowly accumulate points, they can then roll on a table, and I think it's roll on a table, or maybe they start at the lowest and work their way up. As I said, it's a long time. But it is good in the fact that you can eventually gain additional abilities for your harbinger, and he's supported by his warband. And you don't need a lot of figures, depending on how many points you're playing. So you're not needing super-sized units of 20 or 30 models. 30 or 40 models, say, or 60 models in a warband. In a unit. So it comes down to the fact that you can just run lots of little 10-man or 10-person units. So it is good in that regards that when I was buying this, I don't know if they've changed the way they've done things, but when I was so caught up with this game, the blisters that the units came in were always the minimum size of 10, which was really, really good, and it just meant that things were so much easier. The other thing I like about this system, I can't remember if I've said it, is that you can equip your units any way you like. So there's a point cost system in here where you can pay the points and give them to your troops. So it's a good game in the fact that there's not a lot of, if you want to play the way how the models are equipped, while I think there might be something like heavy armor, I can't remember if there is heavy armor in here. I could be wrong, but it's fairly much a simple game of buying equipment, and I really do recommend that you do equip and pay the point costs for the models to have what they are equipped with, because it makes it a better game. It's more thematic, I think, for this. And the background that's in here is really good. I like the whole concept that is there. And of course the harbingers are for each race is very much different from all the others, and there's gifts and such. And then of course there comes down to there's sorcery, and then you have some of the special units that are available. And their primary enemy, which I think will appear in the second half of the thing, will be the Eater of the Dead. And they're like the ones that are the big problem. The tombs, the dead are rising. And of course it's the necromancers who are the problem. And it is good. Crypt Lords, that's what what the characters are called. And a Dark Harbinger are their sort of major characters. Then of course there is a campaign play in here that you can set things up, all about after battle with the victories, and then recovering casualties. And then there's the Renown, the Path to Glory, and it is, I think, a nice, good game system. So look, let's go and have a look at all the figures that I've painted. Wargods of Aegyptus. Yes, I had been chasing these figures for years and finally found a supplier or a distributor here in Brisbane, and I started buying the figures because I just loved them. So here is my small collection, and as you can see, these are the humans, and they generally worship, yeah, that sounds good, worship all the gods. And while Osiris, I think these are supposed to be Osiris, but yeah, look, honestly, it's been a while since I've looked at all the background. These figures, I just had to pull them out and have a look at them again, because they really are, in my opinion, some of the nicest ones in my collection. I've got a couple of chariots. I've stuck a hero there in the back. But yeah, so they're the humans. Then I can't remember. Look, I tell you what, just wait a minute while I'll shove this over to here, and let's try and do this with a little bit of dignity where I might actually know what I'm talking about, because the races that are here represent all of the rules themselves are really, really simple, which is what I like. You can virtually create anything and everything that you want. So, right, I've now got this, so I now know. So, Khemru, I thought they were right. So, yeah, these are the Khemru, and they're not allowed to use any pointy weapons. So, no archers. All I've got are slingers. So they're slingers, and then obviously their main weapon is here are maces. So they're quite nice, and big two-handed mace. That's their now the rules, I'll get to that in a minute, but there's their spellcasters, which are very nice, but they're beast handlers. They have an affinity with animals. So I had lions, goats, and I had jackals, but the jackals got, sadly, oh, here we go, it shows you my wonderful, the jackals, though, got harbingers. That's what they are. So each warband is led by a harbinger. Harbinger, which you can improve as the game plays. So that's the other thing that I liked about it. So that's Kemru. Then there's the Anubai, which are, we all know what they are, the jackal-headed chaps, but these deal with the protecting the afterlife. They're, I think, the main guardians for the tombs. And as you can see, I really do like them. So I've got a few non-Crocodile Game figures in here, and they've come from all sources because there were some nice other figures that I've added. Then I've made a few changes here because you can equip the models. There's no restriction generally when creating units. So I've given these bows. So bows and sword. So that was what I did with those. And then that's obviously the unit behind was what they looked like normally. I've obviously, I think, done a little bit of twisting and cutting here, I think. And then there's the human worshippers of Anubi. So they generally colour their skins, I think, fairly light. And again, they can have virtually anything. And there's a chariot runners. And then there's two human, or Aesar, I think they are, worshippers or followers, I should say. The Harbinger that's there, and then a priest in the front. So yeah, that's those. Then I've got the, what are these? Typhon. That's right. The Typhon are those associated with who is it? Set. I could be wrong. I can't quite read it from here. But look, you're looking at nothing there. I've moved my camera. I apologise for that. But these are the Typhon, and their spear. I've mainly got them as spearmen. I don't know what other units were produced. I could have some more. Oh, Pippin's off. I apologise. Pippin's playing with the puka. Then you've got the Harbinger there. So and that. Sorry, I had to quieten Pippin down. There's no way I could have continued with him barking. So a human priest casualty for the assassin. So yeah, then we've got these people who are the I've got to try and remember who these are now. They are the Totanum. So the Totanum are the like I guess animated clay, animated stone, and they're nice. They're nice. I quite like them. They've got human. There's the human followers. So yeah, they're there, which I really do like. Then down the back here we have I love my crocodiles. Crocodiles are by far... Now, I did have more of these, but I was playing War Machine, and I was using these for whatever they were in the War Machine for the mercenaries. I've forgotten what they're called now, but I might eventually get around to redoing them. But honestly, I just love the crocodile poses, the beasts themselves. They really are such, particularly the I think the spellcaster there. I just think he's absolutely brilliant as a model. So yeah, they are that's the crocodiles, or the Sebeki. Thank you, Sebeki. Then we have the Basti, which are the cat people. I love cat people. As you'll see, they're some of my favourites. Maybe because they've got a lot of female figures, but You know, they've got skirmish units with javelins. Then there's a unit of 2 units of archers that I have. So they're all very nice. And then we have these, which are just all the sort of special characters. There was, I think, a slave. Was it a slave master? With entertainers, I'm not too sure what, and 2 sort of eunuch guards perhaps. And then just then there's 2, I think they're human worshippers there. Then there's a cat hero. Another, I think that's meant to be I think that's meant to just be another hero, because the main harbingers are at the front here, so they're very nice models, and that's a ringer from some other range that I've picked up and decided would make a nice addition. Then we've got the Tethru. Oh, they're not Tethru. Here we go. Here's the Tethru, which are the Ibis style, and they are, you know, the spearmen are nice, and they've got like, they remind me, yeah. So you got they're archers with 2-handed swords, which is nice, and then their characters are just as colourful. So I'm quite pleased that they're still sitting here after. And I just love the little, I think the scribe of Toth is a wonderful thing. You know, I had a couple of palm trees from something hanging around, and I thought, oh, that'd make a nice little diorama. I just thought I'd have that sitting there. So that is those. Then we have Heru. So these, as you can see, pole arms were the start, and then we have some archers, which I really do like. Then we have some human devotees with their champions. There's one there with the hawk, I think, which is quite nice. And then we move on to a couple of champions. That's the harbinger. I'll have to look anyway. Yes, there he is, which is obviously the human version. That's obviously had a few changes as he's advanced, and then in the back are the 2 Heru harbingers, so they're quite nice. And then you've got the some additional people there. Then I've got sorry, I've got a bad back here at the moment. I'm just going to have to pick up a few things. The chair's moving. It's the problem when you're having to move things around. Then I have these vulture people, which are the Nekaru. They, from memory, don't have oh no, they've got a goddess, yeah. So they're mainly the mercenaries type, I think. They work for anybody. They're not a particularly nice group of people, but I've got some archers. 2-handed swords seems to be the prevalence of their weapons. Then they've got an abomination with another, not too sure, somebody to drive them along. As I said, it's been years. There's a champion for them, and then there's this, I suppose, a little cabal of sorcerers, priests, however we'd like to call them. So yeah, they're that is that is them. Then the last lot I've got are the pardon me, are the Eaters of the Dead. I guess these are the primary bad guys. And as you can see, there are, down the back are all the mummies, which are basically rabble in this system. So that's the rabble. Then we actually have sort of the mummies with... we don't actually have like skeletons, at least not in the versions that I've got. So they're mainly all mummified warriors. So you've got those that have got spears. So spears are fairly prevalent, and I think this mob here is just some leftovers that I haven't as yet done anything with. I think they've got oh, there's 10 of them. Oh no, but there's another command. There's another drummer in the back. So I must have used some of the models in other projects at some stage. But they are very, very nice. Very nice. And as I said, the types of additional models you can pick up, like the Beast Handler here. Then you've got, I think that Priestess might come from another range. I'm not too sure. But then they've also given you harbingers that are from other races. So it as their champions. So I quite like it. The army all runs around the necromancer, who basically activates everything. They're the problem children. And then you've got all these other. There's a Heru and a Basti and an Anubai, and then there's a Typhon assassin, an undead Typhon assassin, which is quite nice as a figure. Then we have these abominations. That's some ring-ins from another. Once again, they fit in nicely with the Egyptian style. So different base sizes that you could have with those. So that is, oh, and I've been using for the most part a lot of Games Workshop, or certainly for the Eaters of the Dead anyway. I was using Games Workshop's chariots because they use the same base sizes, and the heroes ride them. And because the chariots for the others, as you can see, they're the chariots that are produced by Crocodile Games, and they're very, very nice. I really do like the, like for these, they had the scarab on the front, and then with the other ones, they've got that, which is a very nice presentation. So I've still got a hell of a lot of this still sitting in blisters that I've yet to paint, but then they started to go on to, I think it was Hyboria or something like that. So we had like Wendigo. They were going to the north, far north. So the figures there were just really sweet. You could use them as trolls. You could use them virtually as any sort of model for any game, and they were lovely. I really, really liked them. And then they sorry about that. Press the wrong button. Clumsy fat fingers. Then they decided they were going to Olympus, and so we had the Spartans, which were really, really rather nice. Really nice figures. I think that was supposed to be Leonidas or somebody similar to that in name. And as I get rid of some bits of fluff, the models themselves, and I just love the War Altar, or whatever it was called. It's a really, really nice set of figures. So look, there you go. This is my collection of War Gods, and it is, to me, a wonderful, evocative set of miniatures. A marvellous, well, to me anyway, it's a really good rule set. So if you haven't seen it, go find it. you don't need to get a lot of figures. It's a warband operated game, and I'll leave you to go and explore it. So till next time, signing off, the Honourable John.